Listen carefully, because this message was not meant for everyone. If you are hearing these words right now, it is not an accident. Heaven itself is leaning in your direction. The angels say, God is uniting you with someone right now, even if you cannot see it yet. Even if distance exists, even if silence exists, even if confusion still lingers, what looks delayed in the natural realm is already moving in the spiritual realm. And the reason God is bringing you together will shock your heart and change your future forever. Before you scroll away, pause for just a moment. Ask yourself this: why did this message stop you? Why did your spirit feel a sudden pull? Why does this feel personal? The angels say it's because your season of separation is ending, and the divine connection God promised you is now being aligned piece by piece, step by step, prayer by prayer. Stay with me until the end, because the angels reveal why God waited until now, what unseen obstacles were just removed, how this union will bless not only you, but generations after youth. Angels speak. This union is not Ordained, the angels say. Connection was written before either of you knew how to pray. God does not unite souls by coincidence. He aligns them by purpose. You may have wondered, why did it take so long? Why did we meet, separate, and reconnect? Why do I feel drawn to them, even when logic says I shouldn't? The angels answer clearly, because God was preparing both of you separately. Before uniting you together, you were being healed. They were being refined. You were learning discernment. They were learning obedience. And now, heaven says the timing is right. What you don't see is what God is doing right now. Angels are working behind the scenes. You may not see the prayers they prayed in silence. You may not know the tears they cried when no one was watching. You may not realize how many times God redirected their steps just to protect this union. But the angels say every delay was divine. Every pause was purposeful. God did not say no. He said, not yet, because what he is joining together now is stronger, wiser, and more spiritually aligned than it ever could have been before. The reason God is uniting you here is what the angels want you to understand. This union is not just about love. It is about healing old generational wounds, breaking cycles of abandonment and fear, restoring faith in what godly love truly looks like. Angels say your connection carries an assignment. Together, you will speak hope where there was despair, show patience where there was chaos, reflect God's grace in a world starving for real love. This is why the enemy tried to delay it. This is why misunderstandings arose. This is why timing felt cruel. But heaven declares, what God has joined, no confusion can destroy. Signs this message is for youth. Angels say this message is for you if you feel peace even when you think about them. You keep seeing repeating signs, numbers, or reminders you tried to move on, but your heart wouldn't disconnect. You've been praying for clarity, and this message feels like an answer. If that's you, type I received this in the comments. Not for me, but as a declaration of faith. God is aligning steps. Write a no while you listen to this message. Conversations are being stirred, hearts are being softened, pride is being humbled, courage is being restored. Angels say, you do not need to force this union. God is already moving. Your job is not to chase. Your job is to trust, because when God unites two people, he does it gently, intentionally, and at the perfect moment. The angels say, the distance was not punishment, it was preparation. You may have questioned why God allowed silence between you, why communication slowed, why circumstances pulled you apart instead of pushing you closer. But heaven wants you to understand this clearly. If you had come together too early, the weight of destiny would have crushed the connection. So God stepped in. He separated you not to break you, but to build you. During the separation, you learned patience. Instead of fear, you learned prayer. Instead of control, you learned to trust God instead of chasing reassurance. And while you were growing, the other person was too, whether you knew it or not. The final test, you both just PAC, the angels reveal something important. You were tested in the waiting. Many connections fail because they demand answers before God gives permission. But you stayed, you prayed, you surrendered, and so did they, sometimes silently, sometimes imperfectly, but sincerely. The angels say, you both passed the test of endurance. You did not harden your heart. You did not curse God. You did not walk away from faith. Instead, you learned to say, God, I trust you even when I don't understand you. That is why heaven is now responding. Why this connection could not be our use each. Union carries spiritual weight. The angels say that rushing would have caused emotional imbalance and healed trauma to resurface miscommunication. Rooted in fear instead of love, so God slowed everything down. Not because he forgot you, but because he refused to let this connection be ruined by immaturity or wounds. You were being refined. They were being refined. Two vessels being shaped separately so they could carry blessing together. What happened in the spirit while you waited, heaven worked. Angels were blocking toxic influences, removing counterfeit connections, closing doors that looked good but weren't God. The angels say, what you lost during this season was never meant to walk into your future. Some people faded away. Some plans collapsed. Some dreams changed shape. But what remained was what God intends to bless. The invisible thread still connecting you even during separation. The connection never broke. You may have felt sudden thoughts about Thema, deep peace when their name crossed. You're meant to sense that something was happening even without proof. That's because the angels say, God never disconnected your spirits, only your circumstances. What is joined by God does not dissolve in silence. It matures. While you both had to face your fears, Elo and Egod needed to know something. Would you still believe without confirmation? Would you still love without control? Would you still trust without guarantees? The angels say, faith grows best in the dark. You confronted abandonment, fears. They confronted commitment fears. You confronted self-worth doubts. They confronted pride and resistance. And now, those chains no longer have authority. Heaven is now realigning your pitos right now, yes. Right now, the angels say alignment is happening. Small shifts are taking place. A message delayed, but not canceled. A thought to reach out, a conversation being rehearsed in their heart. God is not forcing anything. He is inviting both of you into obedience, and obedience unlocks miracles. A word of awe. Warning from the angels. Lovingly caution. Do not rush ahead of God. Do not overanalyze signs. Do not let fear speak louder than faith. God is doing now requires stillness, because when heaven moves, it moves precisely. The angels say something powerful now. This connection feels familiar because your spirits recognize each other. You may have struggled to explain it. You may have tried to label it as coincidence. But deep down, you knew this wasn't ordinary. The comfort, the understanding, the sense of home you feel when you think of them, that is not imagination. The angels say God allows certain souls to recognize each other beyond time, beyond logic, beyond circumstance. That's why conversation felt natural. Silence didn't erase the bond. Distance didn't cancel the pull. This is not attachment. This is alignment. Why God allowed confusion before CLARIT. Why the angels explain clarity is precious. And God does not give it cheaply. Before clarity comes, confusion reveals what you truly desire, whether you trust God or outcomes, whether your faith is rooted in Him or in people. You had moments where you questioned everything, moments where you asked God, is this real or am I holding on too tightly? But heaven says, your questioning did not offend God. It refined you. Confusion humbled you. And humility prepares the heart for truth. The divine pull you cannot. No matter how hard you tried, you couldn't fully detach. You couldn't replace the connection. You couldn't silence the feeling. The angels say, God placed that pull there, not to torment you, but to guide you. Because when God is uniting two people, He creates a gentle but persistent draw that does not fade with time. That pull is not obsession, it is direction, what is happening in their heart. Right NOW, listen carefully. While you've been wondering, while you've been praying, while you've been waiting, the angels say their heart has been softening, walls are coming down. Defenses are weakening, pride is loosening its grip. They are beginning to see what they once overlooked. They are remembering conversations. They are replaying moments. And suddenly, your presence feels louder than ever. Not because you changed, but because God removed the blindfold. Why silence did not mean orejcdio. Angels are very clear about this. Silence was not absence of care. Silence was internal, wrestling. They were processing. They were confronting fears. They were battling past wounds that had nothing to do with you but affected how they loved. God was working in them privately, so they wouldn't wound you publicly. The moment God is repair ing, is a moment approaching. The angels say, words will finally match action's confusion, will give way to honesty, fear, will bow to courage. It may not look traumatic, it may come quietly. But when it happens, you will feel it in your spirit before you hear it with your ears. Because truth resonates. What God is asking of you, right NOW, the angels say, your assignment is simple, but not easy. Remain open, remain prayerful, remain patient, do not close your heart in self. Protection, do not harden yourself to avoid disappointment. God cannot unite two guarded hearts. Trust does not mean NAIV, TY, it means faith with wisdom. A confirmation for your HEART. If you're feeling a calm peace as you listen, if your chest feels lighter, if something inside you whispers, this is for me, that is confirmation. The angels say, you are not late. You are right on time. The angels say, many tried to interfere, but none succeeded. There were opinions. There were distractions. There were other connections that seemed promising at first. Yet somehow, nothing replaced this bond. That is because what God protects cannot be sabotaged. Jealousy failed. Miscommunication failed. Distance failed. Time failed. Every attempt to disrupt only revealed how deeply rooted this connection truly is. Counterfeit connections were expos. God allowed you both to experience other options, not to confuse you, but to clarify you. The angels say, counterfeits collapse under pressure. God-ordained connections endure. Other relationships felt forced. They required effort without peace. They lacked depth. And slowly, you realized this connection was different. Not louder, not flashier, but truer. Why God hid this UNIO in this part is important. The angels say God hid this connection for a season. Why? Because immature hearts would have mishandled it, because outside voices would have poisoned it, because premature exposure would have weakened it. So God covered it in silence. He wrapped it in mystery, yet He shielded it from opinion. And while others questioned it, protected. What made this bond BREAKBL? Angels reveal the foundation. This union is built on spiritual recognition, emotional growth, divine timing, not desperation. Not loneliness. Not fear of being alone. That's why it didn't shatter under pressure. What breaks easily was never meant to last. The spiritual contract. You didn't know ABOT. The angels say something profound now. Before your minds agreed, your spirits already did. There is a covenant-like energy here, a sense of responsibility toward each other's hearts. That is why walking away never felt peaceful. That is why ignoring the pull felt wrong. God marked this connection with care. Why you were protected from HERDBI saw things you couldn't. If union had happened earlier, words would have wounded deeply actions, would have confused you timing, would have created regrets. So God delayed, not denied. Protection often feels like pain until understanding arrives. Not what the enemy failed to destro, why the enemy targeted. Communication, timing, confidence, but failed to touch. Faith, purpose, divine alignment. The angels say, what survives the storm carries God's signature. Your heart is stronger and OW are not the same person you were before. You are more discerning, more grounded, more spiritually aware. That growth was necessary because God is not uniting the old versions of you. He is uniting the refined ones. Angels say, when God unites two people, it does not feel chaotic, it feels calm. Do not expect fireworks fueled by anxiety. Do not expect emotional confusion. Instead, expect a deep exhale you didn't know you were holding, a quiet certainty instead of racing thoughts, a sense of rightness that settles into your spirit. This is how you'll know it's God. No guessing. No proving. No chasing. Just peace. Why this union feels different from past Sionestion's past. Connections were loud. They demanded reassurance. They kept you on edge. This one, it steadies you. The angels say, what comes from God brings rest, not restlessness. You will notice. Communication becomes clear. Respect replaces uncertainty. Effort flows naturally. Instead of feeling forced, love will no longer feel like a battlefield. Healing that happens without words. Something beautiful unfolds here. You won't need long explanations. You won't need to revisit every wound, because presence itself brings healing. The angels say, God uses this union to restore what life tried to steal. Trust rebuilds quietly. Security returns gently. Joy begins to breathe again. Why you had to become who you are a node. If this union had come earlier, you would not have recognized its value. But now, you understand patience. You understand boundaries. You understand yourself. And so do they. Two healed hearts don't drain each other. They support each other. What this union unlocks in your life. The angels reveal that this connection releases blessings beyond romance. Together, you will encourage each other's purpose, strengthen faith during hard seasons, create emotional safety. Others can feel your love becomes a testimony, not because it's perfect, but because it's God-led. The role of prayer in this you and I or prayer doesn't disappear once union happens. It deepens. You will pray together, not just alone with gratitude, not desperation with expectation, not fear. The angels say, couples who pray together stay aligned. What you must protect going forward. Every blessing requires stewardship. Caution. Guard your communication. Keep God at the center. Never invite outside voices into sacred spaces. Peace is fragile if neglected, but powerful if honored. A promise from HEAV, and the angels declare, what God is building between you will last if you keep Him first. This union is not seasonal. It is foundational. The angels say, what God is uniting is meant to shine quietly but powerfully. This love is not for display. It is for impact. People around you will feel calmer in your presence. They will sense hope without you preaching. They will witness patience where chaos used to reign. Your relationship becomes a living testimony. Why God trusted you with this Sion and ECTIO, and God does not entrust deep love to careless hearts. You've known loss. You've endured waiting. You faced disappointment without losing faith. That's why the angels say, you were chosen because you learned obedience through delay. This union requires humility. It requires listening. It requires spiritual maturity. And you carry that now. How? This love breaks generational CYCLS. The angels reveal something powerful. This union breaks cycles. Cycles of abandonment, emotional unavailability, fear, based love, silent suffering. What was normalized in your past will not continue in your future. God is rewriting a story through you, the spiritual covering. Over this Arialetio has assigned protection, not to remove challenge, but to guide you through them. The angels say, this union is covered because it is consecrated. Arguments will not define you. Misunderstandings will not defeat you. Growth will outpace conflict. While your love will feel safe sacred, this connection offers emotional honesty, mutual respect, freedom to be fully yourself. The angels say, godly love does not shrink you, it expands you. You won't lose yourself here. You'll become more yourself. This union strengthens faith. Love leads you closer to God, not away from Him. You'll see answered prayers. You'll recognize divine timing. You'll trust God more deeply than before. Love becomes worship. What heaven expects from you. Both the angels are clear. Choose grace over pride. Choose patience over reaction. Choose prayer over assumption. Every strong union is built on daily choices. A message for those still dobting, still whispers, what if I'm wrong? The angels answer, peace is not confusion. If peace accompanies this connection, God is present. The angels say, now comes movement. Not forced, not rushed, but divinely initiated. Expect truth to replace guessing, consistency to replace confusion, action to follow intention. You will notice shifts, a message that finally comes, a conversation that feels different, a sense of readiness on both sides. This is God saying, now. How to stay aligned with God's time. The angels give you this instruction. Do not panic. Do not overthink. Do not replay old fears. Instead, pray. Even briefly speak, gently listen more than you react. Alignment is not effort. It is surrender. What God joins, He sustains. A final warning from HEAV and the angels lovingly caution. Do not sabotage peace, trying to relive pain. Do not demand proof when nigh. God already gave peace. Do not let old wounds speak into a healed future. This union will grow in safety, not fear. The final confirmation for your HEART. You've stayed until this moment. This is for you. The angels say, God is not teasing you. He is preparing you. You are not imagining this. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. Heaven has been working quietly, but intentionally. A blessing over you. Angels release this blessing now. May your heart rest. May your mind be clear. May your spirit remain sensitive to God's voice. May love arrive without fear. May peace guard what God is building. May patience protect what God is uniting. And may you recognize His hand in every step. Final call to action. Very important for NG before you leave. Do this with intention. Like this video if you believe God is working behind the scenes for you. Comment, I trust God's timing. If this message spoke directly to your heart, subscribe to Words of Angel for daily angelic messages, divine encouragement, and spiritual confirmations meant just for you. When you engage, you're not helping an algorithm, you're declaring faith. And faith activates heaven.